Harry's Wife, Part 101.51. Coterie member, Gayle King. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor, continuing to educate you about narcissism and its various aspects. The narcissist has two types of supporter. The lieutenant, somebody who is important to the narcissist. Sometimes this can be another narcissist, often it's an empath or a normal person who carries out the bidding of the narcissist. They engage in perhaps lending money to the narcissist, harassing somebody because they think that that's an appropriate thing to do on behalf of the narcissist, aiding the narcissist in some way. They go above and beyond the normal call of duty, and they are an integral part of the narcissist fuel matrix. Sometimes a narcissist will use the intimate partner primary source as a lieutenant, often done with regard to the former intimate partner primary source, who finds himself coming under attack from the narcissist and the brainwashed intimate partner primary source. I have spoken in separate videos about the role of the lieutenant. Do seek those videos out. The coterie is essentially those individuals who don't necessarily carry out the repeated bidding on a more sustained basis for the narcissist, but they are the general supporters that are there that can be counted upon for the purposes of being supportive, doing favours, but they don't have as great as a proactive role again and again and again. They can be called upon to be useful. They will speak on behalf of the narcissist, but they don't hold that status of lieutenant as they are not quite within that inner circle. Typical members of the coterie are family members who invariably have been duped by the narcissist's smearing of the victim to them, so they think the victim is the problem. And that this smearing often goes on unbeknownst to the victim, so that when they go and approach the narcissist family and say, look, I'm having real difficulties with your son, he does this and does that, you're left with a rather cool, sometimes hostile response as they say, well, that's not what he's been telling us. We understand that you've been the problem. You're the one that has made his life difficult, so you've got a bit of a cheek coming and asking for us to ask for help. Invariably, the victim is stunned, befuddled and bemused by this, and often protests their innocence, which invariably doesn't get them anywhere with the brainwashed family members. Friends also find themselves in the coterie. These are people who are not bad people. They feel a sense of loyalty by virtue of being family and friends to the narcissist, and also invariably have been fed a diet of lies about the victim by the narcissist as part of the smearing that has gone on in order to indirectly assert control. So, for example, the narcissist has a row with his wife. He can't assert control over her, and therefore he picks up the phone or goes to see a member of the coterie and complains about her conduct. In so doing, he's indirectly asserting control because that person he goes to speak to is sympathetic about the difficulties of the relationship. That person may well say, oh, I'm sorry to hear you're having these difficulties, I'm sure you'll sort it out. But their sympathy provides fuel, shows they're under control, but also because they're largely agreeing, or at least being sympathetic to the narcissist, allows the narcissist to indirectly assert control over that other person, the primary source who's being problematic. At that juncture, that friend or family member just thinks, they've had a bit of a set too, there we are. But often the narcissist will keep doing this. Each time there's a problem, and where he can't assert control directly over the intimate partner primary source, he goes to a secondary source, a family member or a friend, a member of the coterie, and continues to talk about she's kicked off again. And of course, these individuals, rather than thinking, well, hang on a second, what's her side of the story, they invariably swallow what the narcissist is telling them. This then creates a picture, and then ultimately what then occurs is that the narcissist perhaps disengages, or the victim seeks to escape and then tries to enlist the help and understanding of the family or the friends or both, only to find that they have a rather less than helpful and sometimes hostile reception because of this smearing that has been going on. Members of the Coterie can be called upon to lend an ear to the narcissist, to support the narcissist, to speak out on behalf of the narcissist. And here, it would appear that a member of the Coterie is doing just that with regard to Harry's wife. An article published in the Mail Online by Martin Robinson tells us, Prince Harry and Harry's wife set to return to California without a peace deal being struck. Sussex's friend, Gayle King, says efforts were made on both sides to heal rift, but it remains to be seen if they will be drawn closer. Coterie members are often used by mid-range narcissists as part of managing the facade to make it look like the narcissist is the one who's doing the right thing and perhaps has tried to pour oil over troubled waters and at the same time denigrate the other person as being difficult and awkward. Prince Harry and Harry's wife are returning to Los Angeles without any peace deal being struck with King Charles and Prince William, the Duchess's friend, non-intimate secondary source, Gayle King has claimed. The CBS Mornings host has been in London for the Queen's funeral and said that the turmoil caused by Megxit and the Sussexes' interview with Oprah Winfrey has not been resolved. Harry and William have repeatedly stood side by side with their father, King Charles III, as he mourns his mother's death. There was also a joint engagement with Harry's wife and Kate, but it remains to be seen if this fragile truce will hold, especially with Harry's memoirs, The Big Bucket Potato Prince, due out later this year. Ms. King got to know Harry's wife and Harry after being introduced by Ms. Winfrey and attended the Duchess's lavish baby shower organised by Serena Williams and Amal Clooney. She is viewed as one of the couple's main allies in the US media. Speaking following the Queen's funeral outside Westminster Abbey, she said, "There have been efforts on both sides to sort of make this right." Admitting that there had been no rapprochement despite these efforts, she added, "Big families always go through drama, always go through turmoil. No, actually they don't. Not of their own making. It's invariably when a narcissist is in the mix. It remains to be seen, are they going to be drawn closer together, or are they going to be drawn apart? I have no idea." Well, seeing as you have no idea, Gayle, why are you commenting? Oh, that's because you feel motivated to do so in order to support Harry's wife. Or quite possibly, she has instructed or asked you to do so. "I have no idea," says Gayle King. "I have no inside information on that. But I will tell you this. It was good to see Harry standing with his family. Thanks for that revelation. It has made my week." Harry's wife and Harry stayed at Frogmore Cottage at Windsor on the evening of Monday's funeral, but were reported to be heading back to California as soon as possible to be with Archie III and Elizabeth I after 2 weeks away. As the royal family mourns for another week with all engagements cancelled until next Tuesday, the Sussexes have not been seen in public since Harry puffed his cheeks and Harry's wife stared ahead. See, parts pass him, Harry relief, Harry's wife's cold fury, while leaving St. George's Chapel when the Queen was laid to rest. It is not impossible, however, that they are already in their Monty Shitshow mansion. The article then goes on regurgitating matters that have come up during the course of the funeral, not really telling us anything that we didn't already know. But the point of this, Gayle King hasn't actually got anything to say, but she's rolled out either of her own volition, because sometimes Coterie members do that. The narcissist doesn't ask them, but because of the intrinsic loyalty that has become created in them by the narcissist's manipulation of them, they, of their own volition, speak out in a supportive way. And this is being done as part of the facade management to say there was an attempt to try and smooth things over, but unfortunately a peace deal wasn't brokered. But at least there was an attempt made to do so. Well, that's, of course, the role of this particular member of the Coterie. But what do the people below the line think about all of these observations? And what do they think about what Gayle King has to say? We'll find out in a moment. Of course, the fact is it the case that Harry's wife has contacted Gayle King and said, "Look, we've tried to sort things out, it hasn't happened, just want you to know that," with the expectation that she will then, as a broadcaster, explain this, making Harry's wife look like she's trying to sort things out and managing the facade? Possible. We don't know for certain. It might just be that Gayle King does this of her own volition, as I've explained. But below the line, here are the observations. Keith Fraser 100 writes, "So, Ginger and Winge have been in touch with US TV people while attending the funeral. Nice. So much for changing their ways then." AE, "Not a friend if you sell private conversations to the media." Movie Fans 1234, "It hasn't been 24 hours, and the leaks are rampant." Lucy Liu, "King and Winfrey, keep out of our business. I can see through you. Trust has gone. So soon will they. Good riddance." Danny Arkey, "For the rift to heal, folks like Gayle King need to be quiet, and Harry needs to ditch the book, and Harry's wife needs to stop talking to the media." Debsy 1957, "While the Harkle's book is a ticking time bomb, there can be no rapprochement. What if they time the release to coincide with the coronation? I cannot believe that a former army officer and prince can be so vindictive. Slug it out in private, but do not air your grievances so publicly. They are not doing themselves any favours." Sweet Jalapeno, "It's evident to me that all that talk from expert sources, friends, are basically one-sided. It's them two that are floundering, cut off, discarded, ignored. They're trying all tactics to get back in." Calin Diaz, "I wonder how Harry likes going back to America after 3 weeks at home." Glogene, US, "How does Gayle King know this? That's right, Harry's wife. That's why there is no reconciliation. The royal family can't trust her not to run to the press after every conversation." Grottybag, "So Harry's wife has blabbed her mouth as soon as the funeral is over. She can't be trusted. The royal family are wise to keep them at arm's length." Jumper Hunter, "And why does she know this information?" Moon Girl, "How does she know this? Either she's assuming or Harry's wife has informed her. Either way, the British public don't care. Just go back to California and leave the UK alone. The stress and anxiety the pair caused our Queen in the last year of her life is shameful and irreversible." Yeshua, "Great time to make a peace deal when people are mourning the Queen's death. The problem with Harry's wife is she has no patience, like her late mother-in-law." Amelia, "They cannot undo what they have already said on camera in interviews, therefore it's obvious they are bitter and vengeful towards the royal family. Cut them loose and leave them to their own devices. They will run out of an audience willing to listen to their miserable rubbish soon enough." Itoli, "Have they gone yet? Please don't come back. You are irrelevant. You were tolerated out of respect for the Queen, but not anymore." And there's much of the same in terms of comments and observations. They're clearly not well liked at all. But here it shows once again that a Coterie member feels the need to speak out, possibly of her own volition, or quite possibly because she's been given the nudge by Harry's wife. It's probably the latter, because of course Harry's wife has faced these repeated threats to control, and you'll also find out in forthcoming videos about how she's going through her list of perceived grievances and utilising the media to try and address them. I'm HG Tudor. Thank you for listening.